Hello, and welcome back to the What Is channel, the place where we tackle life's biggest questions, or at least try to make them sound less scary. Today, we're diving into a topic that's perhaps the most universal, the most inevitable, and arguably the least openly discussed. We're going to ask, what is death? Defining death, the biological perspective. Now, before you get too melancholic, let's start with the cold, hard, undisputed facts. Biologically speaking, death is the irreversible cessation of all vital functions essential for life. Think of it as your body's operating system officially crashing, with no reboot option. No pulse, no breath, no brain activity. It's the ultimate mic drop for your biology. For centuries, defining the exact moment of death was tricky. Was it when the heart stopped? When breathing ceased? Picture an old Western movie where the doctor holds a mirror to the bandit's nose. Very dramatic, but not exactly precise. Thanks to modern medicine, we now have more sophisticated metrics. We distinguish between clinical death, where the heart and lungs stop but cells might still be salvageable for a short window, and biological death, where those precious brain cells, starved of oxygen, begin to die, making resuscitation impossible. And then there's brain death, the modern legal and medical standard, signifying the complete and irreversible loss of all brain function, including the brainstem, which controls involuntary actions like breathing. So, it's not just a flatline anymore. It's a very specific kind of flatline. Death, the ultimate universal constant. Here's a fun fact. If you can call it fun when discussing this topic, death has a 100% success rate. 100%. It's the only truly universal experience waiting for every single living organism on this planet. From the tiniest bacterium to the largest blue whale. From the fleeting mayfly to the ancient redwood, everyone and everything eventually succumbs. It's the only appointment you absolutely cannot reschedule, no matter how good your excuse. Humans, being humans, have spent millennia trying to talk their way out of it, or at least postpone it indefinitely. We've chased mythical fountains of youth, concocted strange elixirs, and even mummified our deceased in hopes of an afterlife reunion. We build monuments, write books, create art, all, perhaps, a subconscious attempt to leave a little piece of ourselves behind, to cheat death's finality in some small way. It's like trying to avoid paying taxes. You can try, but the inevitable always catches up. The fear factor. Why are we so scared? So, if it's so universal, why does the very mention of death often make us squirm? Why do we use euphemisms like passed on, kicked the bucket, or met the great gig in the sky? Well, for most of us, the fear isn't just about the physical cessation. It's the great unknown. What happens after? Does consciousness simply vanish? Is there nothingness, or something more? It's the ultimate spoiler alert that nobody wants to read. It's also about loss. Loss of relationships, experiences, control. We spend our lives building, planning, connecting, and death threatens to wipe all that away. Imagine planning an elaborate surprise party for yourself, only to find out you can't attend. That's a bit like our relationship with death. We're all meticulously planning our lives, knowing this one unmissable event is lurking in the future, yet we rarely plan for it. It's a paradox only humans could master. The process. What actually happens? Let's get a little scientific, but not too graphic, about the immediate aftermath. Once the vital functions cease, the body begins its own process of transformation. Cells, deprived of oxygen and nutrients, start to break down. This leads to things like rigor mortis, where muscles stiffen, and livor mortis, where blood settles in the lower parts of the body. It's not a horror movie. It's just biology doing its thing. Think of it as the ultimate recycling program. Without the animating spark of life, The complex organic machinery of our bodies begins to dismantle, returning its constituent parts to the earth, feeding new life. In a grand cosmic sense, death isn't just an end. It's a critical part of the cycle of life, clearing the stage for new generations, providing nutrients for ecosystems. It's highly efficient, if a little inconvenient, for the person involved. Cultural and philosophical diversions. Culturally and philosophically, death is a chameleon. For some, it's a transition to an afterlife, a heavenly reward, a purgatorial stopover, or a hellish consequence. For others, it's a journey of reincarnation, a rebirth into a new form, carrying karmic echoes of past lives. And for many, it's simply the end of the story, a final curtain call beyond which there is no further act. These views aren't just fascinating. They shape how entire societies live, mourn, and celebrate. From elaborate Egyptian burial rituals designed to ensure safe passage to the underworld, to modern humanist approaches that focus on creating legacy through action and memory, humanity's relationship with death is as diverse as humanity itself. It's like everyone has their own highly personalized theory about the ending of a book they haven't finished reading. Death's purpose, giving life meaning. If death is so inevitable and often fearful, could it possibly serve a purpose beyond biological recycling? Many philosophers argue, yes. The finite nature of our existence, the absolute certainty of an end date, is what gives life its preciousness. Without death, would life hold the same urgency, the same drive to create, to love, to experience? It's the ticking clock that pushes us to make the most of our time. Imagine if you lived forever. Would you bother learning a new skill today? Would that sunset feel as breathtaking if you knew you had an infinite number more to witness? The threat of non-existence, paradoxically, can be a powerful motivator for existence. It's the ultimate carpe diem reminder, stamped faintly on the back of every living being. Live fully, laugh often, love deeply, because, well, you know. Modern perspectives and the ongoing conversation. In modern society, we're slowly, sometimes awkwardly, learning to talk about death more openly. From movements advocating for death positivity to the growth of hospice care focusing on comfort and dignity, we're trying to reclaim death from the shadows of silence and fear. Grief is being recognized not as a weakness, but as a natural, essential process. Memorials are evolving, embracing celebration alongside sorrow. We're also grappling with complex ethical questions thanks to advances in medicine, the right to die, prolonging life at all costs, the definition of personhood. These aren't easy answers, and they constantly push the boundaries of what we understand about life, consciousness, and the precise moment of their departure. It seems like the only thing more complicated than life itself is how to end it gracefully. So, what is death? It's a biological certainty, a universal constant, a philosophical enigma, and an emotional challenge. It's the ultimate end, and yet, it's inextricably woven into the fabric of life, giving it shape, meaning, and urgency. It's the one thing we all have in common, from beginning to end. And perhaps, by understanding it a little better, we can learn to appreciate the precious, fleeting gift of being alive, right here, right now. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. If this episode made you think, ponder, or perhaps even chuckle a little about life's greatest certainty, please hit that like button, subscribe to the What Is channel for more existential adventures, and let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And as always, keep asking the big questions.